So I've been meaning to do this for a while now. I've just been super lazy. I wanted to talk about my birth experience. I'm really just doing this video for me, as I just don't want to forget the details of this kind of crazy day, crazy experience. So yes, I had a baby girl. She is happy and healthy. She's currently laying on my chest right now, so I'm doing my best. If you see my chest rising, it's not something weird. It's her. It's her in the background making noise. So, anyways, I'll try to make this video quick just because I don't like watching videos that drone on and on and on. And I know I have a monotone voice, so I'll try to make this as quick as I can. So, my labor actually started on... I gave birth on June 12th. It started at June 10th at 3:50 in the morning. And I remember that because I was asleep, obviously. I was jolted out of my sleep by what I now know as a contraction. For all those out there who say that a contraction feels like a menstrual cramp times 1,000, I have to disagree with that. Like, I can't describe a contraction other than it feels like an abdominal Charlie horse, and that's the best. I'm trying to think of ways to describe what that feels like, but that's what it felt like to me. It's just this, and Charlie horses are the worst, and they take forever to go away because it's literally it's a contraction in your leg, wherever. But that's what it felt like to me. It was just like, it was excruciating. Like, menstrual cramps I've been dealing with for forever. Contractions were on like another level. So that's when it started at 3, and I didn't recognize it at the time. I was just like, damn, what the hell is that? But I was too tired to piece it together, and then they started happening more frequently. And so I was dealing with it, and I was like, maybe that's just, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, maybe that'll go away. It did not go away, and it was 6 a.m. here, and I was still having these weird, I guess, pains. I now notice the contractions. Anyways, I had my husband, because I was in so much pain I couldn't do it. I had my husband call my doctor's office, because I was like, I don't really know what's going on here. So they told me, they asked me a bunch of questions, like, you know, what's it feel like? Have you passed your bloody show? They're like, have you passed your bloody show? How far apart are the contractions, or what they thought were contractions? And I was like, well, they weren't. They were irregular at that time, and I had no bloody show. So they're just like, well, basically keep your ass at home until they become regular. And they were going on all day, and it was just unbearable. I can't explain it. It was unbearable. And I ended up going to the emergency room later that night because I was like, I can't take it. Like, I cannot take it. I kept dealing with these. Oh, don't wake up. Go back to sleep. Fussy little girl. She probably is annoyed with me talking, so. Oh my God, please forgive me. This is my new life. I got a baby on my chest, and I'm tired all the time. So I ended up going to the ED, and my doctor actually was on call that day, and she came in the room, decided that, you know, she checked my cervix. I was going to say she stripped my membrane. She did that later, and that is very excruciating. But she checked my cervix, and then that was uncomfortable as well. And they decided that was only I was only like dilated 2 centimeters at the time, so they sent me home, and that sucked. But I did get to experience my first time with the narcotics. I had morphine and Phenergan. I didn't even know you could put it intramuscular. I did not know that. I thought that I'm so used to those things being an IV. In any event, it did help, and morphine and Phenergan together was lovely. I don't want to do it again, but I understand the appeal of why drug addicts always come in and ask for it. But it did help with the pain for a little bit, and eventually, like most drugs, they wore off. So I was back at square one again the next day, which would be Sunday, and all day. Oh no, I went. Oh God, I'm losing track of the story. It happens. I feel like it's happening. Excuse me for my brain is just a mess. I ended up going in a second time because the pain was still excruciating, and my OB stripped my membrane. That's probably one of the most painful things I think I've ever experienced. For those of you who don't know what that is, the doctor basically inserts his or her fingers, to your vagina, reaching all the way up to your cervix, and they basically just like twist it, or I don't even, they're just basically not poking at it. Well, maybe they are poking at it. Basically, they're manipulating it to where the thought process behind it is that they, in manipulating it, they release prostaglandins, which is like a type of hormone that basically softens and kind of opens up your cervix. But it is excruciatingly painful. And I am not a crier. I don't ever cry unless I'm in pain or frustrated. And once she finished, I just busted out crying. My husband just literally just looked bewildered because he's never seen me like this. And no one tells you about these things. I have friends who have been pregnant and had babies, and no one mentioned this shit. And it was unbearable. And on top of that, I went home and I had no pain medicine. Not that I'm seeking for it, but in this particular case, it's just the frustration of being in that much amount of pain and just no end to it is just like, it just is very daunting. And so I went home, tried to sleep, but again, it's impossible, I think, to get good sleep when you're awakened out of it. Like, you know it's coming. Like, I sensed that it was coming, and it was just, your whole abdomen tenses up, and it's just excruciating. And I just, oh my God. So it was like that. I tried to do everything to alleviate pain. I tried to do some exercises. I took a bath. The bath relieved it a little bit, but it wasn't stopping these contractions, and it still was painful. So I went to the emergency room a third time, and everyone knew me there because I had been there so frequently. And the problem is, like, the reason why I was coming and going is because my cervix is not dilated. I was having the contractions at this point regularly, but my cervix was still 2 to 3 centimeters, and that sucked. So they're like, we can't do anything for you, so you have to go home. And basically the third time I was there, the nurses were phenomenal. I think they very much advocated for me to stay because I was just it was the same situation. They're like, you checked your cervix, it's still at 3.5, and I was like begging and pleading. I was like, please do not let them send me home. I cannot take this. So the doctor came in and talked to me, different doctor, but very nice. And she felt so bad for me. She's like, well, let's just keep you here a couple hours to see if things progress. And I believe firmly that someone said a prayer for me. And after a while, they checked my cervix and I was at 5, and they finally admitted me. And it was lovely because at that point, then the nurses could actually like treat my pain appropriately. So they called anesthesia and they put in a epidural. And it was... After that, once I got my epidural, like, life was gravy. Like, I could actually concentrate on what my husband was saying. Like, there's so many things that I missed because I was in pain. Like, my husband and I, we actually did our, was it a birth plan? We were talking about that. He's like, you wanted this for your birth plan. I was like, what do we go for a birth plan? He's like, I asked you a bunch of questions. In hindsight, I do remember that, but I was so blinded by pain. It kind of like, I just forgot about it for a while. But anyways, I got my epidural. It was nice to not feel anything.